over the world, and a lot of people are excited about the news. But so far, so good. Morocco has started well in terms of the packaging of the events, and the story taking all the attraction from the games was the fact that Patrice Motsepe made an announcement that they from 2028 the African Cup of Nations will be hosted every 4 years. What do you think about this? A lot of people said Patrice Motsepe is bowing to pressure from FIFA. He has handed over CAF to talking about the auspices of the European football powerhouses who now want to determine how the Afcon is supposed to be held. This has been a tradition for backlog of years. He's a billionaire. He should have his own say. He should not bow to pressure. Why is he going to tune to 4 years? Would you blame him if Morocco looks like the only country ready to host the next Afcon and on and on and on? It takes the beauty of hosting it every 2 years. The beauty of African football was the unity in diversity that Africa has. But it looks like, I don't know, economically, Africa is no longer showing the might it's expected to show after a lot of years. But do you think that's enough to say, okay, let's stop having this competition for 2 years? Let's do 4 years. Who says? They can even say 4 years. Let's start doing it a year after the World Cup so that we'll be able to have them in June, July, as against the weather conditions and the beauty of African football.
So basically, right, I mean, a lot of us actually saw this coming. It's just, the timing he actually gave this information that's exactly taking a lot of persons aback. But the truth is, if you've been following trends across the world, you know that this is bound to happen. South America actually had to adjust their own calendar to suit the European Euro Cup. Before now, South America don't actually play when Europeans are actually playing their own championship. But now they had to find a way to make it fit into their own calendar so that all their players will be available. Nobody will, there will be no complaint as regards personnel and other resources. The truth is that he who plays the piper dictates his tune. And as it concerns Africa and the world at large, Europe gets the very first priority when it comes to footballing matters, because they actually have the highest level of investment in every continent. You check, major football academies in Africa, major football academies in South America, you get to see that European top clubs are the ones that are actually financing it. Now look at player development across Africa. How many African countries can actually boast of top, facilities to actually develop their players? These are another questions. Now we also look at the fact that, when it comes to a crisis in Africa, the countries that will really step in to actually bail out African countries are European countries, because many of these African countries are actually proxy or annex of these European states. Whether we like it or not, say we are actually independent, but the truth is we only just have independence of the flag. They actually really, they still very much determine our policies and how we actually, do things that we do. So many of these things definitely will come into factor when it comes to, football, because the government and of course people running football in Europe all have, ways that they actually sink. Europe actually gets a lot of money from football. And if the people running football are actually complaining that, whatever it is happening in Africa is actually not suiting them, they definitely, all they need to do is to press their government, and their government will definitely have to press governments in Africa, and they're definitely going to strong arm the people running football in Africa. It only makes sense. Let's now look away from the fact that, the economy part, which is, the reason why Europe will definitely have this particular call. Let's now look at the fact that even within African countries and South American countries, they are short of talent as we speak. Now, one of the reasons why we have short of talent, I was saying it a couple of days ago. I said Neymar is the only, or rather is the last real superstar that left South American shores. Before Neymar, we've had loads of them that actually left. But Neymar was the last real superstar that left. Why? Because the economy of South America has really tilted to Europe. Players really don't even develop to full blown before they actually leave. Look at Estaval. Naturally, back in the days, Estaval at that age would definitely remain in Brazil to actually grow to become a bigger player. But wow, what happened? They shipped into Europe as early as 18 because the economy in Europe is viable and there's a lot of money that's coming from that particular part of the world. You see Brazilian national team, they don't even play the samba football again. They tend to actually play like Europeans. So all of these things, the way we even play in Africa, most of us has actually shared our tradition, how we actually do our thing. So all of these things will definitely come to play, and where it's going to actually lead is the fact that we also have to tilt towards what they all do in Europe, which is play their tournament once in 4 years. So it's actually not surprising. Now let's look at the African Cup of Nations. The major financier of the African Cup of Nations is Total. Total is actually a French company. Again, you look at it, you ask yourself, people who are actually financing your company are actually not indigenous to your continent. So then it means again they also have the right to actually determine when the tournament will be hosted. So if you look at all of the complexities, you know that it is bound to happen, and it is definitely going to be the right call. I just hope that even these 4 years that they are proposing, even if it finally stands, that African countries now will be able to actually prepare, for a long time to actually be able to host a proper tournament. But as far as I'm concerned, until we will start, doing things our own by ourselves, being 100% independent, then trust me, this particular sort of kind of matter will continue to happen. And yes, I don't think Patrice Motsepe, as a businessman, will definitely have any other choice. As a businessman, he understands the business and go of these things, and that's exactly why he's actually playing ball. Again, even your African Footballer of the Year award, naturally before now it was called the French Magazine Award. So before it became African Footballer of the Year, so everything around us, really, trust me, it is basically Europeans, and that's why they actually determine the kind of policy and way we actually have to do our things here. So it's not surprising to me.
All right, okay. Maiwa is now with us virtually. Maiwa, the African Cup of Nations kick-started over the weekend, and so far so good. We'll be talking about the African Cup of Nations, the glitz, the glamour, Afrobeats were represented. I saw the Nigerian Super Eagles team wearing their Ashwebi, as we'll call it back home, and all looking sparkling and glittering. They already started talking about winning the Afcon, and I didn't like the slogan they were using. Football is coming back home, coming back home. Yeah, and I think the last team that used that slogan, we all know how it ended in the in the final, and of course how they crashed out and losing to Italy. Yeah, I remember that was England. Please, let's not. I don't want to be part of those using that slogan that didn't end well. But it's great to have you. So far, so good. The Afcon has started, but the controversies that Motsepe announced that from 2028, the African Cup of Nations will be hosted every 4 years.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. The thing is this, I think we don't have a backbone, and the thing is this, if we allow people to be pushing us around, this will continue. The CONCACAF, the South American competition is held every 2 years, and they allow players go there, and these players go there to to play those games. We cannot allow people to dictate to us. This is not the first time. We'll be hosting this competition since 1957.
All right, since Maiwa, we're struggling to really get you there because it seems that to be a glitch via getting to you. But let's talk about Morocco and taking a look at the opening ceremony.
We never had this issue of postponement. Can you hear me?
Yes, Maiwa, it seems you're better now.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the set of people running football right now, running CAF right now, they don't have a backbone and they are not strong enough. Issa Hayatou ran this organization. Yes, he is corrupt, whatever it is, and the rest of that. He ran this organization for over 30 years. And in those 30 years, nothing like this happened. We cannot continue to hide under the guys that, you can talk about, the major sponsor being Total, being a French company and just one. Let me shock you. Majority of the drilling of Total is from Africa. They get their revenue, majority of their revenue from Africa. Angola, Nigeria, and the rest of all the countries that have energy in Africa. The investment is here, not in Europe. So even the World Cup that we are talking about, the next World Cup, the revenue from Africa alone is way more than Europe that we are talking about. Yes, because they run their league very well. A lot of people run there and the rest of that. As far as I'm concerned, the people running football right now in Africa, they are a disgrace. If this should allow, if this should fly, because there's a South American there, they host their competition every 2 years, and this is not happening. This should not be happening. I think it's a shame to Motsepe, and this should be a criteria for people to vote him out. You cannot bend the knee because some clubs in Europe are complaining and just like, yes, if you want to adjust your calendar to fit the European calendar, that's understandable. But shifting the competition to every 4 years does not make any logical sense.
All right, okay. It is what it is, and of course, yes, the argument of that how the talking about Isariatu did it back in his days, and of course, Ayatu was well respected amongst the big wigs when it comes to FIFA. But some have spoken about Mosepe just being a businessman who just got the opportunity to be the CAF president. That he doesn't play the football politics, just a yes man to talking about. Infantino. I think Infantino understands how important Africa is to football, and some believe that he should show more respect to African football. But it is what it is. Yes, we have the challenges, but the beauty of hosting it every 2 years was the fact that we have our brothers come back home to have a football showpiece and give Africa something to look forward to. Imagine not having to see players every 2 years like it used to be, though the challenge has always been having these players back home in January with the club struggling. But I think somehow we've been able to address that over successive African Cup of Nations. But now going to have it every 4 years, what's the guarantee that the African Cup of Nations is going to eventually have all the attention it deserves, all the glitz and glamour it's supposed to get, and the respect it's supposed to get in Europe if it's hosted every 4 years? And who knows, they might say, let's now have it June, July.
Well, the truth is, Jerry, my wife was talking about where they are drilling their oil, total. And all
Which is correct.
The truth is,
Which is correct.
Whether you like it or not, these guys are still very much an European company. Where you get your raw material, how they actually allow them.
Is it about European? What if an African company decides to partner to host the World Cup anywhere?
No, see, Jerry,
what's the difference?
Jerry,
football is universal. It doesn't discriminate whether you're coming from Europe to host it. Because if you take a look at this African Cup of Nations, it has one of the biggest sponsorship attraction. We've seen even gaming sponsors. A lot of sponsors are coming in left, right, and center. Morocco is going to benefit. CAF is going to make more money than it has ever made as far as African Cup of Nations hosting is concerned.
Jerry, if there's anything about competition, right? Be it World Cup or African Cup of Nations, is that every single tournament, the prize money and the money that comes via ads and all of that will definitely increase. It is normal. The revenue will definitely increase, except there's something wrong with the country or the continent at the time. That is a natural thing to expect. See, Jerry, these guys, football is not just a game you play on the field. I've always said it. 90% of what happens on the field, right, happens outside the field. There's a lot of government present in football, and European countries are the big decider when it comes to what happens across the world when it comes to football. Now, there's a clash of interest here. Many of their players will definitely be leaving them to Africa. The biggest sponsor of Africa, we used to have it as what's it called, MTN African Cup of Nations at some point, but they cannot keep up again. They don't have because the football showpiece has outgrown that particular brand. It is the truth. So the truth is, at this point, these are the guys that can actually handle it alone until you get to a point where they cannot also not handle it again, or someone actually comes to outbid them. That's what the reality of football business is. So we are discussing football business, and now these are the guys that can actually handle this particular tournament as a major sponsor. They are Europeans, which means definitely their first priority will definitely be tilting towards their countrymen. Whether we like it or not, their governments have huge influence in the business and in the stakes of their company. So if the continent is actually having trouble hosting their competitions because African players are actually leaving, it is just one call to the people who are actually hosting this particular tournament. Sit Musepe in a room, have a conversation with him. We don't mind increasing the prize money, but this thing cannot happen once every 2 years because you guys don't have money. And they always say beggars have no shoes.
But I think I want to disagree that they don't have the money, because they've been able to host it for the past how many years? Even before I was born, the Afcon has been there, and they've successfully hosted it every 2 years. And I think that should not be the yardstick to judge the reason why they should not host the AFCON.
Jerry, so
the next AFCON host is already there, and I know there's going to be a bid before 2028 for the next host as it comes. So I think money should not be an issue here. The issue has been the fact that African players, most of the players that persecute the African Cup of Nations, mostly play in Europe.
It is because you don't have money. That's why you're being strong-armed.
No, mostly play in Europe.
That's what I'm saying.
And the fact that African football is not developing locally is giving a situation where we have to listen to what Europe
Jerry,
has to say.
Let's change let's turn the table now.
Okay.
Let's turn the table.
That should be the conversation. The number of players persecuting the African nations are coming from Europe.
Let's turn the table now. Africans are actually the ones, sponsoring tournaments in Europe.
Okay.
Let's say that's the case now. Let's say that's the case now. And then Africans are actually telling Europeans, you know what? You guys cannot play this tournament at this time because we need our players. Do you think that will happen?
Time will tell. Anyway, I don't want to...
It's not going to happen. We don't...
Anyway.
See, Jerry, business is about leverage and we don't have it.
See, Maiwa, is the conversation about the fact that we don't have the resources to have this competition hosted every 2 years, or the fact that maybe we need to look back into African football, talking about the clubs, the quality of the players coming from our local club sides, so we can have a balance where we can do without having majority of the players coming from Europe to persecute the African Cup of Nations.
The question is this: if we shift the tournament to every 4 years, does it change the fact that the tournament will play in January? The problem is, and we all know the reason why we are playing the tournament in January, is because of the conditions, because of the climate we are in.
Yeah, the peculiarity of Africa. It's not a challenge. That's how peculiar Africa is. Yeah.
Yeah. If we are to apply the same logic, then the South American tournament, Copa America, that happens every 2 years, players from South America should not be going, because they go, their club allow them to go, and they come back, and we don't hear this noise.
No, but the bottom line is this. They play their own tournament in the summer now.
Hold on. The thing is, most of the time, it starts when the league is almost ending, right? And these are seasons, these are pre. However, the question we should ask is this: what happened to the years Issa Hayati was running football? The talk about, they have more leverage and this one. Let me shock you. Total itself, that is the host, they are trying to expand. They are going into clean energy now. They are going to solar energy and the rest of that. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why they continue to host that competition, because they want to expand their business in Africa. Mm-hmm. Because there is a lot of untapped, business for them in Africa, and that's the reason why they continue to host. That's the reason why they outbidded the telecom company that was hosting it, because they actually outbidded the South African company that was, the major host before, and that's the reason why it was given to Total. So the fact is this: even hosting the competition in 4 years does not even favor Total. If you want to look at it from a business perspective, the bottom line is this: see, the way Musepe has gotten there has been shameful. Look at the case of the World Cup qualifier, where we have Nigeria, where you have a team with multiple conflicts of interest, and they allow you to fly. These are the things that people look at before they start, insulting you. As far as I'm concerned, if Musepe is somebody into a room to, for him to be strong to make the competition every 4 years, it's a slap on Africa. And I hope those who are going to vote for the next CAF president, they will look at this as a reason to vote Musepe out. We cannot allow people to be taking this an insult to CAF as a whole.
But Maya, make me understand. I mean, how is hosting the business, the tournament? I say the business. The tournament once in every 4 years, not good for Total. I mean, I don't see how it's not good for Total. I believe it's as good as hosting the tournament every 2 years for them.
No, I think the visibility for them every 2 years makes it more interesting.
Visibility for them.
Yeah, the visibility every 2 years, because what happens to a visibility you see every 4 years instead of every 2 years? There's a difference. At least there's a refresh. And of course, there's bigger opportunities for you to establish your presence before your target audience. But let's not dwell on that. Let's talk let's talk about the Super Eagles. Let's not go into public relation advertising here
Okay.
because I still have a bit of knowledge because I have a certificate down there as far as that one is concerned. But let's talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The information about the formation they plan to use against Tanzania, and we hear it's going to be 4-4-2, and that means there's going to be some bit of cut down or maybe some shape up for some to give way while some players will be given professional treatment. If a 4-4-2 is going to be used, are we going to have only two natural midfielders and two wingers in maybe Moses Simon and Demona Lookman? What's going to happen to, is it going to be Alex Iwobi and Ndidi alone? Would that sacrifice the creativity we expect from the middle, meaning that we're going to be all an attack-minded team going into that game? Myra, what do you think about a 4-4-2? It used to be 4-3-3, which was wing play being the strength of the Super Eagles.
Well, before we started doing this new modern football, the typical Nigeria will play 4-4-2. You have your Finidi, you have your Amunike, running around, and you have, your Olise and JJ Okocha playing from the midfield. And, that successfully served us so well. And we have, our strikers in front. I think in as much as, we've seen our team play 4-4-3, if the coach has the, material to play 4-4-2 successfully, then why not? What that means is that, those playing from the wings, that is in the old way now, they call it the 7 and the 11. That means they will be doing a good job, feeding the ball very well and supporting the attack very well. While, what's called Iwobi and Ndidi at the center, Iwobi is dictating the play, while Ndidi sits a bit backward to protect our defense line. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, provided we have the quality of players to be able to do it. The question is this: the players that we have at the moment, do they play like the Finidis and the Amunikes that we have those days? That is the question. If they can play like that, I don't see anything wrong with the 4-4-2 formation. However, with the current players that we have at the moment, I'm scratching my head to see who can play like that, and I can't find one. So I don't know what the coach is thinking. I don't know what he has in plan. But if you have the quality of, a Finidi and Amunike.
All right. Okay, we'll have to hold on with Maiwa there. Let's look at 4-4-2. How realistic is a 4-4-2 formation? Taking a look at the players in camp.
Yeah, Maiwa started by talking about, the history of the 4-4-2 in the Super Eagles. West Ham actually, made that a thing for the Super Eagles. But the truth is, if you've been following Eric Chell, you know that this is actually how he likes to set up his team. 4-4-2 has always been his style. I was actually expecting him to actually start off when he started with Super Eagles, but I don't know if he actually vowed to pressure at some point to actually play the 4-3-3. But all that is, in the past now. I decided to actually go for the 4-4-2. I think we have the personnel that can actually, deliver on that particular formation. But the problem here with Eric Chell that I have is inconsistency. Inconsistency. Eric Chell can decide to actually play 4-4-2 today, and tomorrow he decides to play 4-3-3 again.
Even in the middle of the match.
So that's the kind of problem I have with him as a manager. He's very indecisive, and the worst person to deal with is a person that's indecisive. It is better the person to actually just
stick to what
you know, or even the one you don't know. But when you are indecisive, it is a very, because even the players too will be very
unpredictable, confused
the players. Will be unsettled. So this is exactly my problem with him. It definitely means also that Iwobi is most likely going to be playing deep. That's what to be playing double pivot Iwobi and.
Or he might be sacrificed.
Wilfred Ndidi. But what I want to see is that he gives Iwobi more advanced role, and then allow.
What happens to Kintamiro? Have we seen enough in the game against Egypt?
Well, like I said, I don't want to judge him based off that game. But then the Afcon starts properly, officially rather. Then I want to see that the coach will definitely want to bring him in. I just hope that this first game is going to come. The Super Eagles is going to actually take this first game, very, very serious, and then score 2-3 goals earlier in the game, and then let's get to see other players. I also want to see, Tochukwu Nnadi. There's a lot about, that young man that, needs to be seen. I think it's definitely going to be that man who's going to step up to take Iwobi's place. He's one of those players that was part of the on the 20 side at Northern Argentina, himself alongside Benjamin Frederick. So yes, he's also a player that I really want to see. But the truth is, at this point, they've not been tested and trusted. So we definitely will start with Iwobi and Ndidi. let's get it off running. Let's get the very first set of goals in that particular game against Tanzania, and then let's see the boys that will come in to actually replace them. But I think for wingers, I think we have good number of them. Moses Simon, Ademola Lookman, Chidera Ejuke. These guys can actually play wide. So I think we have an abundance when it comes. Samuel Chukwueze also can actually play well. So we have about 4 players who can actually do the job from that particular flank. So I think that's exactly why he's decided to actually opt for the 4-4-2. I just hope that Erichel finds the right combination to actually bring the best out of these guys. I'm so tired of his indecisiveness. Tomorrow is definitely going to play 4-2-4, 4-3-3. This is not the way you actually set up a team. Play a certain way, and let's get to see the identity of your team. And if you're going to actually win a game, let's know that you're winning the game. If you're losing, let's know you're losing based off tactical issues, or even if it's technical issues, you know what to actually correct.
All right, let's know what you actually correct. We already heard that Ademola Lookman might be pairing with Victor Osimhen, just like we saw at the last Afcon. Do you think that bit of continuity is majorly a positive one, looking at the fact that it was successful taking the team to the final? They should continue with it in the next Afcon, because at least they'll be familiar with each other. Ademola Lookman behind Victor Osimhen.
So I think it's actually good. Ademola Lookman is a player who can actually drop deep. He's actually good on the ball. So I was actually expecting Samuel Chukwueze to be the man behind him, but since it's Ademola Lookman, it's fine.
Yeah, Samuel Chukwueze playing from the right, Moses Simon from the left.
So it definitely means that when Ademola Lookman decides to actually drop so deep, Chukwueze will step into that particular role. When he's actually advanced, Chukwueze will actually track back. So it's going to be quite interesting. There's going to be a lot of interchanging between Samuel Chukwueze and Ademola Lookman, even including Moses Simon, because the three of them will really have similar quality in that particular final third. So yes, it's good to actually see. Let's get to see what how much of support they can actually also give to their fullbacks, because that's exactly where it's going to actually end. If you have wingers that can actually really just do a lot going forward and cannot actually really help defensively, then it's going to really hurt the team. So I just hope that whoever it is that is deploying this will also have the right amount of support for the guys who will be playing behind them. That's exactly what's going to actually help the team balance. The Super Eagles has always been known to actually use the wings. So let's get to see if the Super Eagles can actually make good of use of the wings in this particular championship. That's what actually really helped us in last championship, because of how Jose Pastore actually deployed the team. Let's get to see if the same thing is going to happen this time around, because I'm quite curious to see what the is going to actually do. This 4-4-2 for me, I think is the best way considering the personnel that we have. But then I just hope he's got the stomach to actually see through the competition with this formation.
All right, if Mario will have us, the coach of the Tanzania national team, known as the Taifa Stars, Miguel Gamondi, has said that beating the Super Eagles will make us feel like champions. It means that he relishes the opportunity to play a star-studded Super Eagles side, and that means he'll be going for the scarf.
Well, I mean, no matter the controversy that we are surrounding our team, we are one of the biggest teams to be able to for any team to beat. However, I said something the other time. Anikechukwu made mention of something, and that's the reason why we have to be careful with this 4-4-2 that we're talking about. The days of Finidi and Amunike, one of the jobs that they do is you have a Finidi helping, and a Guavon on the right hand side in terms of tracking back. You have an Amunike helping a Beniroa. The question is this: those that want to deploy, as a 7 and as a 11 now, using the original language, can they do that successfully? Can they do that continuously throughout the game? If they cannot do that, we have a problem in the midfield and we might be exposed. So that's the reason why I said I'm scratching my head to wonder why he wants to play 4-4-2. However, for the Tanzanians, they have nothing to lose. If they lose that particular game, nobody will throw a stone at them. So I mean, they have nothing to lose. They are coming into the game of their lives. What they want to do, what probably would see is they will defend so much and probably want to hit us on the counter. And that is where, how we line up really affects what's going to happen in that particular game. So it's going to be an interesting game, but definitely I think we have enough quality to be able to dispatch the Tanzania. So let's see how line up tomorrow, but we have to be very, very careful. They will defend and want to hit us on the counter.
All right, defend and want to hit us on the counter. And of course, talking about the Super Eagles this time, it looks like the Afcon caused a strike again. And this time around, Maduka Okoye has received the Afcon course that they dubbed it online. Maduka Okoye got suspended after he got the red card just in the 9th minute of the game against Fiorentina, which means he will only get to play for Fiorentina on the 10th of January. That means that majority of the three games now he's not going to play for Fiorentina. So it looks like him opting out of the AFCON eventually is going to be watching it at home, not playing any football. All the plan for Udinese is to have him start the games because he's your starter. He was not guaranteed starting spot for the Super Eagles by the coach and the NFF. So it looks like the hoodoo. I hope hunting Maduka Okoye on this one.
Well, on the flip side, I think Fiorentina will Udinese would actually be looking at, okay, he's going to be on the bench. He's not going to be injured. There'll be no worry about when he's going to be returning. We know that he's going to stay fit right here with us. So for them, it's better to actually have him around. To be part.
They lost 5-1.
To be part of the training and help put other players in shape. I think it's not a loss for them. I think he's not also going to be seeing it as a cost because trust me, a goalkeeper of his level at this point, I think he deserves some level of guarantee to actually be part of major championship at this point, right? And that's exactly why he's actually asking for it. This is not the first time he's been called to the AFCON, and I mean he's never given this sort of response before. But I think he actually understands that this is exactly his time. He looked at the goalkeeping department and the options, and he knows that he definitely he should be actually getting a shot for it. If the number one shot stopper is actually not fit enough, at the time when the list was being prepared, what stops the coach from giving him a certain level of assurance that don't worry, even if you're not going to actually be the number one, you're definitely going to play a major part in this championship. You might actually play the first game or the second game. These are the things you can actually really work on. But the coach decided otherwise. I mean, for us, I think it's more of a loss for us than it is for Udinese at this point, sincerely.
Yeah, the case of Maduka Okoye, he gets to miss lots of games, and he's not part of the AFCON. Some say he's the AFCON cost.
Well, I don't think so. And we should clear some things. I think the rule that they did, that was the reason why Okoye was not part of the team. All these ones that they are talking about, Udinese did not release him and the rest of that. I don't think so. How do you explain and Uzo and a goalkeeper that is not doing well making it to a tournament and Okoye is not there? However, I mean, to be honest with you, he gets to watch the Nations Cup at home. It's a lose-lose for him as a player. If we were to be in the Nations Cup, if we were to be part of the team, probably he has a better shot at playing football. Now he's red-carded, he's not going to play. So there is no reason why he was not invited. But in any case, we've already made our choices, and we should stick to our choice. If you enjoy the Nations Cup, keep rooting for Nigeria from the bench, and let's hope Nigeria will make him proud with the goalkeepers that we have at the moment. It's just so sad that for whatever reason, for whatever politics we are playing, and Okoye is not part of the national team at the moment.
All right, Okoye, wish him all the best. You want to say, but taking a look at the quality of the game so far in the AFCON, are you impressed with the quality? We saw Morocco win their first game against the Comoros. Though Comoros gave them a hard fight in the first half, it was goalless. The second half, it looks like Morocco came out from the dust. Cameron Diaz did not disappoint with his quality as a Real Madrid player. We expect him to step up. And of course, what an opening result for Morocco. And we just saw the cheap Polo, the Zambians, coming back against the Mali in that one.
That's actually a very big game. The Mali and the Zambia game, actually very, very big game. You want to look at sides that both of them like to actually really press high, and it was a very, very tough game. I mean, a lot of persons would actually call that game a draw, and that would have actually sealed it 1-1. I think there's something with Zambia in their first Nations Cup games they like to always play 1-1. But I mean, it's just one of those things. They're a side that we really don't want to go down. In their very first game, it's quite open now for them to actually find a way to actually make it out of that particular group. But for Comoros and Morocco, I mean, it's expected. A lot of persons expect Morocco to actually pick the 3 points in that particular one. They're the favorites, heavy favorites. Even a lot of persons even tipping them to go all the way in the finals. And they've got quality top players. Sofiane Amrabat. I mean, he was like like he was playing like he was in his own bedroom, controlling, deciding, winning a lot of ball, mopping up the midfield for Morocco. The Comoros actually have no say in that particular one. And I mean, the Abdelazou, the Baka, the guy that actually came from La Masia for Barcelona, who actually is playing for Real Betis now, was actually a thorn in the flesh of the Comoros. The guy was so. It was a very big problem on the left wing. It was, I mean, I was at some point I was like looking at the guy who was playing the Comoros right back. I was like, oh, this is going to be painful. And under the rain, the guy was taking them, on every single time. Again, Ibrahim Diaz, I think he needs no introduction. He's shown that he's got quality. He's free to sit on the bench for Manchester City, move on to Real Madrid, and shown just why he deserves to actually play every minute. Look at the players they're parading against the Comoros. I mean, with all due respect, it tells you that Morocco is definitely going to come out on top. Let's see what's going to happen. I mean, in their subsequent game, if they can actually live up to the same standard. Because I mean, winning the first game is not a guarantee that you're going to make it out of the group. We've seen this thing happen. Argentina won the first game against Nigeria in 2002. They end up crashing out in that same group stage. So, I mean, all the best for Morocco. I mean, they're the hosts. I want to believe they will make it out, but then football sprinkles surprise when you least expect.
All right, Maiwa, there will also be big games to look forward to as South Africa takes on Angola and, of course, Egypt with Mohamed Salah taking on Zimbabwe. These are two big fixtures, two big houses talking about Egypt and South Africa, the Bafana. Who will you be rooting for? Are you going to be with the Nigerians who don't want to see the Bafana win, or you want to see the Bafana win just because of the big boys and, of course, Egypt, like their call?
Well, I mean, there's no point being bad. We did not prepare well. That's why we didn't qualify for the World Cup. So we should not take our anger out on South Africa. I think they have enough quality. They dispatched Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers, and that's the reason why they got number one in that particular group. So, I mean, with the quality they have, definitely anybody that loves football would be rooting for them with the kind of quality they have. However, they are playing against an Angolan side, a rejuvenated Angolan side that can beat anybody any day, anytime. So it's going to be a very, very difficult game. They can't rest on their laurels. They have to prove that they actually deserve to be at the Nations Cup. And remember, they also got to the semi-final in the last tournament where Nigeria was able to knock them out via penalty. So they are not a small team and they want to represent. So I mean, I'll be rooting for any of them that plays good football, but I would love to see South Africa win that particular game. For Egypt, Mo Salah has not been playing good football. He has been surplus to requirements in Liverpool, and with the way Liverpool is going, I don't think he will be playing for them. So this is an avenue for him to sell himself to the next club he will be going to on loan. So this is an avenue for him to show that he still got it. Definitely, you would expect Egypt to win against a Zimbabwe side. I mean, they have enough quality, and Egypt should be able to take this. I want to say exactly what Mo Salah would do, because I mean, he has had a very rough week, a very rough start to the EPL season. Let's see, maybe this is the refresh that he needs. Maybe the Nations Cup will be him. Interesting game. I'm looking forward to see, what Salah will do against, his Zimbabwe side.
All right. I think I must be somehow equipped. Like, Mario is already chasing Mo Salah out of the Premier League. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere. You already said it's surplus to requirement. I think that has been resolved. The man is going to return back happy from the African Cup of Nations. I even saw, talking about all the handles of Liverpool have been promoting the Zimbabwe game, telling their fans to cheer Mo Salah on. It means that maybe this trouble in paradise is beginning to go away out of the window. But I understand why your United fans would not want to see Mo Salah in the Premier League, because he has dealt with them so much, scoring lots of goals, and of course you would like to see him off the English Premier League. I understand why. But talking about the Premier League, we saw blockbuster fixtures over the weekend. It looks like Arsenal is still holding on to that 3-point lead. And of course, 2-point lead down. Okay, they're still holding on, not letting Man City sweep them off the field. But it looks like Man City is not resting. Pep Guardiola has even talked about the weight of his players, meaning that he's taking the chase for the title really seriously. Talking about Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, and of course Manchester United. It looks like that man is never going to cut his hair. Aston Villa Rogers, they call him Sergeant Rogers. The Nigerians have been calling him Sergeant Rogers. The Aston Villa midfielder, he's been on fire. 2 goals he scored against Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes is out injured. We hear he's going to be out for a long spell. And what's happening to Ruben Amorim and his boys?
Well, it's actually a sad time to be a Manchester United fan. I mean,
you're saying it's a sad time for Maiwa.
Yes, absolutely.
And you before you
I'm a
decided
Chelsea
to be
fan,
with Chelsea. Even Chelsea, they're struggling. So Newcastle United.
No. You can't compare Chelsea to Liverpool, please.
To Man U or who? No.
Well, I'm talking about Liverpool.
Okay. And what's the points difference anyway? I think the table.
Liverpool naturally should be around 11 points if we go by the natural order of things. If not for PGMOL. I mean, Liverpool.
Yes,
no, Jerry. That's
PGMOL has been assisting Chelsea too.
No, yeah. Jerry. Wait.
Well, yes, that's been assisting Chelsea too. Season.
Liverpool won their first 4.
Chelsea have benefited from PGMOL. If you look at it very well, this season.
You can look at Chelsea's own.
Yeah.
Let me look at mine.
They've benefited more.
How?
This season.
How?
You want me to go to the result?
Prove it because I'll prove Liverpool's own for you. See,
all right, we'll get into that.
Liverpool's got 29 points. Right?
How many points does Chelsea have?
Chelsea is above Liverpool. Liverpool's got 29 points.
That's what they say. Man U was above Liverpool.
Wait.
At the end of the day, we're no longer talking about Man U above Liverpool. Don't worry, Chelsea.
Man U 29 points. 29 points. Liverpool first 4 games, they won late PGMOL minutes. Now, 4 games, that's 12 points. That's 12 points.
12 points, yes.
We have 2 games now they've won. Red card. That's how many points?
Oh, really? 2 games.
18 points. You take it out 18 points. 18 points from 29. That's 11 points, Jerry.
Do you know that Tottenham was supposed to get at least 3 red cards in that game?
Jerry, that's 11 points.
Do you agree with me? They were supposed to have at least 3.
But Jerry, that's 11
red cards
points.
in that game.
11 points. And that means you are supposed to be bottom 3.
Oh, really? Wow.
Definitely, that's true.
That's about 60% of the wins
Okay,
we've had this
where
season.
was PGMOL when Liverpool lost 7 games? Where was PGMOL?
PGMOL.
Yeah, what happened?
That was why he cried and they started giving teams red card for long balls.
Yes,
That's why he cried.
Okay,
that was why
all those times PGMOL was on holiday.
PGMOL decided to actually allow, because people have been complaining, what kind of...
You see that this is not
5 minutes.
In a season, PGMOL goes listen to cry.
Jerry,
somehow, when they are winning, PGMOL now comes back.
How come it was when Ancelotti cried that they cannot deal with long balls while seeing teams play?
He cried about long balls and lost 6 game stretch. He cried about long balls.
It was when he started losing that I started crying. No. Jerry.
Ikechukwu, please, I think save me now, because right now I think I'm
save
confused.
Me from what?
Because this politics, this agenda, he's not even listening to reasoning. The agenda just wants to set, reason or not. Maiwa, did Liverpool lose 6 game stretch or more after the long ball stuck by an slot? True or false? Because I don't have time to go back to the video.
He started crying when the game
true or false? True or false? Because I'm confused.
Let Maiwa answer.
No, but the thing is, when he started losing, that was when he started crying about long balls. Started losing before he started crying about long balls.
Anyway, Chelsea is 29 points, right? And Liverpool is 29 points. Okay, that's what I'm alongside Sam. My name is Jerry Apella. I say thanks for being a part of the locker room. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. Stay tuned. Being a part of the locker room. Up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. Stay tuned.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Maduka Okoye, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from the Real Housewives of Lagos and the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
All right, hello, everybody. It's about shagging the man fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers, whatever, live it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Jenny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
We're here with the leadership of VOP Television Lagos. We do appreciate this opportunity to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to our viewers all over the world and admirers. Cheers.
It's a season of love, a season of joy, a season to celebrate you because you deserve it. From all of us at Voice of the People TV, we only want to wish you a very merry, happy Christmas and a prosperous new year ahead.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpillon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, with the sport.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things?